I just want to caveat, I find these videos incredibly hard to make. I find them very easy to make and very natural to make, but I find them very hard to watch back because all I hear is this kind of like, oh, running so hard and it's so meaningful, but it's so hard, and like, I'm aware of this. So I just want it to be known that while you're here watching this, I am perceiving myself in a manner of, but it's coming out my mouth is what's happening. So this is a story of something. I think something about being unwavering, I'm not quite sure yet. It kind of happens as I make the video. But I'm just kind of covering my own sense of self and ego by telling you that I know that I appear in this way and that I apologise, which is not probably the best thing to do, but I'm going to do that anyway. But it happened, so enjoy the video. I hope that it's not terrible. And just a note as well that if anybody wants to pay me money, you can buy my shoes, my worn shoes, which I'll put a video of here. They smell about as terrible as a dead ferret, burning, and my socks also probably resemble something that you wouldn't be able to have on the earth. It's that bad. So if you want to buy them, you can pay me a lot of money. Just send me an email or post me a letter. Miley Cyrus once said something which I loved, and I'm not a big Miley Cyrus fan, and I don't really know anything about her other than that she sings songs, but she said something once which I can't quote because I can't remember it, but it was basically something along the lines of, I am a constant contradiction, but whatever I say in the moment is my truth in the moment. And I think that for me is so true in that, like in these moments of sharing and of running it, the feelings, the experience, the meaning was true in that moment. And just because in retrospect you perceive something differently, or you're out of it and so you don't see it quite as intensely, or you can develop different perspectives of it, doesn't mean that that experience in the moment wasn't real and true. So I just love that, and I think if we can allow ourselves to be the constant contradictions that we are, which is being a human with a paradox of things, I think it allows for a very wholesome existence. So anyway, I will let you watch this terrible video. Which is really strange because yesterday, well, that's why, because you just start spontaneously bleeding from your nose. Ah! My like chest hurts to breathe, which is probably just a bit of like intercostal strain or I don't know, pneumonia. There's a huge flooding of emotion which hasn't quite come out yet at all. I've not really been home long or finished long, but there's something about ultras where everything in everyday life for me sometimes feels very pointless. Pointless maybe not being the word, but we seem to make unimportant things really important, and I've always felt like we're all missing the point of something. And I think what, you know, running for a long time gives you the experience of is this kind of unwavering sense of nothing else mattering, nothing else existing, nothing else that isn't in front of your eyes or in your current needs Nothing else exists. And I think there's something so just like immensely immensely something about it. I grew up being a kid who was scared of everything, and you know, I was the kid on the year 6 trip who didn't want to go in the canoe because I was too scared, didn't do the abseil because I was too scared, didn't go on any roller coasters because I was too scared, always subject to a lot of distraction mentally, a lot of noise, a lot of just, you know, and there's a lot of labels you can give that, and there's a lot of some things that can be useful and not useful. But I think something that running continues to teach me is this ability to be unwavering in how you do things, this ability to be able to differentiate the periphery of noise from the centre of what's important. And you know, in an ultra, yesterday, the day before, in the ultra, there's a whole spectrum of things you experience, and I think people think that, you know, if you finish it or if you do it, like, you must just be a masochist, you must just, you know, be crazy, or just have this extreme sense of fitness. You know, you're just so fit you can't feel a thing. Whereas, you know, the whole experience is you experience ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. You experience so much noise, so much doubt, fear, feeling shite, pain, and if you keep going, you get to see what's on the other side of that. You get to see that when you don't succumb to the initial discomfort, when you don't get lost and identify with that story in your head that's saying that, you know, you can't do it, or why is everybody else better than me, or why am I so terrible, why do I feel so bad, blah 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 blah. When you can let go of that and you can just let everything happen as it's wanting to happen, there's a huge realization that the more you can just let everything in life come and go, the more you can be so central with your attention to just doing what's in front of you and trusting that what's going to happen is what's going to happen and it's going to be fine. And that's really, really hard. But, you know, when you see that you can experience this constant fear, this constant doubt, this constant, you know, be it physiological, mental, both, and it doesn't affect your choice, it doesn't affect your ability, it doesn't affect the way that you can live. And I think so much of what's missing in the conversation about a lot of mental health stuff is the component of action and the component of sometimes mood follows action, sometimes change follows taking steps, and that doesn't have to be running an ultramarathon or, you know, doing crazy things. It can be sometimes getting out of your own way and Rena!
What is it you've done?
Warming up.
Have you got tape and stuff for it?
Yeah. Is that the one
Look at that.
Michaela, is that the pants off the sides?
And then this is how you zoom in. So you pull that towards, push it away. You're good.
I actually am a compulsive liar. Unless I go. Race day.
245.
How you feeling?
Terrifying.
Marginally afraid.
Oh, okay.
Liberally afraid.
Existentially afraid. How are you feeling?
Good, good. So, ready for a long day of crewing, so...
Long ass boring.
Long ass day. I know.
Notice the tape.
Yeah, and the nose strip. And the bag of hats.
This is how the winners keep winning, eh?
Yeah.
They just keep doing this. So I'll be seeing you there in 14 hours, right? Right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Running in like a sack of dead meat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo! Woo! Go get him, go get him, go get him, go get him. He'd keep running. Mia, Mia, go. Vamos.
On Saturday we went up Cadair Idris, which is like 893 perhaps meter mountain, and to most people that's nothing. The height and the climbing and the fitness, to me it's fine, but I've always had this inescapable fear of heights, or it's never really felt like a mental fear, which of course it is, but it's more felt like a physiological reaction that whenever I perceive a drop, I get dizzy, my heart rate goes, my hands sweat, and my legs shake, which is really unhelpful when you're on the edge of a mountain. You have to run because you kind of need your body not to freeze. And you know, and I'm not exaggerating, 4 years ago I couldn't go up a 200 meter hill, you know, the hill called Flemington Edge, like nearby, without having a panic attack. 200 meters, and it's not an edge, it's a gradual hill. And I've been like that with so many things my whole life. Speaking to people, being sociable, insert everything, and I've just had this persistent knowing of I just can't live like that. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like the truth. It feels like some dream I'm living in when I'm in that state. And all last week leading up to the ultra, I was on this kind of edge of thinking, not I can't do it and what's everybody going to think of me, but when we come up to climbing Cadair Idris, which is, it's pretty like sharp drop off, that's quite like a, I don't know what you call it. It's the top of the mountain, but there's quite a steep rock face like that. It's like maybe 700 meters of drop. And all I could think about was, you know, I'm going to get there, it's at 20 miles, whatever, and I'm just going to have this thing where I freeze and I won't be able to keep going. And I can't tell you the amount of times last week where I just wasn't going to do it at all. And or I'd kind of agreed to myself, right, I'll go and run the race and I won't tell anybody about it because it's embarrassing. And when it comes to that point, I will go as far as I can and I'll turn around. Or when it comes to going up there, I'll just DNF, I'll just stop. And that was a legitimate decision in my head. And it's so hard to explain to anybody who hasn't experienced fear, perhaps to an intense degree, how despite you having probably a deep understanding that A, you'll be fine, and B, that you could do it, there is no reasoning with fear, there is no logic with fear. In your brain, when the fear centres are active, when the amygdala is active, the logic and the rationale and the ability to observe oneself goes. And I think for me a big recognition has been that the biggest fear is the fear of fear itself, and it's of being afraid of feeling afraid. And I knew that's what this was. I knew I was afraid of feeling afraid. And anyway, for the first kind of 10 miles of the race I felt pretty good. I still had a long way to go until we get to Cadair Idris, but then kind of after we left the checkpoint going up to Cadair Idris, I just had this kind of very negative, I was in a bad mood, just very, in the videos I looked smiley and stuff, but inside I was shitting it, and also I just felt shit. I felt like very different, you know, why am I making this a big deal? Why is everybody else excited to go up this big mountain that's gorgeous and I'm terrified, you know? There's a really damaging thing that can happen when you perceive yourself as broken and defective, and when you distance yourself from everybody else and you kind of make yourself a bit special in thinking that nobody else feels or experiences what you do and you're just different and you can't be helped, and there's something very negative about that, obviously. But I think on Saturday I just kept going, and the fear didn't go, and I think that's a really important point. There wasn't a point where I had this sense of, oh, this doesn't make any sense, I'm totally fine. No, every second of every minute was this intense dread, heart palpitations, heart racing, just feeling like I'm literally going to die. And I just know from experience that you just have to let it happen, and you just have to stop fighting it, you have to stop trying to fix it, you have to stop trying to get rid of it, you have to stop. You know, the worst thing to do for any fear or anxiety is to try and stop feeling afraid. The more you try to stop feeling afraid, the more afraid you feel. The more you push back against a feeling, the more it comes towards you. And so we kept climbing, and it was becoming more and more into view, and we began to kind of go on like the ridge line of the route. And my good friend Arjuna, he's been on many runs with me where I've kind of just been like, oh my god, we're going to die, and he's like, we're totally fine. And it's a really weird experience because I can't explain how convinced I was that I couldn't do that. And just time passes, moments go by, you just deal with every momentary feeling, and somehow you make it. And oh, there's some tears, oh dear. Oh, damn, they've arrived. Yeah, it was very emotional getting to the top, because there's a huge sense of liberation, I think, when everything in your body, brain, is telling you that, you know, you're just shit. You know, everybody here is fine, great, strong, determined, and there's you, the little scared thing that just sees ghosts when there's nothing there. So yeah, we kind of came to the first summit before Cadair Idris, which was kind of it to go up and then go back down towards the top of Cadair Idris. And we still weren't there yet, and even though we were pretty much nearly there and there was not much more climbing to do, I still just had this sense of I'm not going to do it, and yeah, I don't know, it's bizarre. It's like there's such intense feeling, such intense fear, but I'm here and I'm doing it and I'm fine. And then we eventually got to the top of Cadair Idris, and I just remember this overwhelming like, oh, what? I didn't think I could do that. And you know, like running 50 miles, I didn't think I used to be able to do that. But that's like a physical thing, and I kind of learned, oh, your body can do it, you just keep going. But you know, the second that fear arises with something like the heights and whatever, it's all mental, and of course most of it's mental, but it was just a reminder that fighting it, pushing it, listening to it, whatever, it does nothing, and that it's sometimes if not all the time, the way out of it is to just go straight through it, and fucking hell that hurts sometimes. I can't quite convey how intense it was, but it was just this like, oh, like, you know, I have life in the crooks of my hands, and just this knowing that we all have a choice, and we all, you know, it's so easy to be a victim to a narrative in your mind, or to something that you believe about yourself or the world, or something that you've been told, and to let that stay with you for such a long time, and for it to run your life forever, and to keep yourself small and hidden, and but life's too short. Life is far too short for that, and the day where you will stop feeling afraid will never come. And waiting for that day to come, which I was doing my whole life and hoping it would come, it never comes, and you don't live. The resounding lesson from all of it, including this, you know, being up a mountain experience, which is really not that dramatic, is you have to develop a practice of being unwavering in your actions, and that means going through whatever arises with integrity and with a willingness to just see what happens on the other side, and to stop controlling. And that's really hard, because everything in your body and your mind and everything wants you to control it, because if you can control it, you have power, you have, you know, it's in your hands. But the more you're gripping, the more you're grasping for an expectation to change, for you to change, for something to change, for the tighter and tighter you feel, and the more constricted you become. And man, when we got to the top and we were running down, okay, the wind was then really strong and it was blowing us towards the edge, and the path was here, the drop was maybe here, and I was like going like this, the wind was going this way, and I was just like running this way. Anyway, but the feeling of coming down, and you know, I got some pizza out of my bag, I had some pizza I'd cooked, gave my junior a slice, I ate a slice, it just views everywhere, people around, smiles, laughter, you know, hikers saying well done, keep going. Oh man, amazing. And you know, I then kind of realised, shit, we're only at like 22, 21 miles, and I've just used up like pretty much every ounce of mental energy, and I was full of adrenaline for about 2 hours, but I just felt so elated going down, and so confident in my knowledge that nothing within me needs to change in order for my life to take a certain route, and nothing within me needs to change in order for me to be able to accept myself and what comes up for me. Ah, didn't expect to cry.
Hello, woo! Looking strong.
Voila.
On my back.
Interview on the move.
I slipped over.
Oh, did you?
Got my knee, but we're fine.
Which one?
The left one.
The left one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
she's looking
I
alright.
I fell and then I caught myself.
Oh, okay. How you feeling?
Pizza fixed it.
Yeah, we had a slice of pizza.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
How's the ledge?
It was cool.
Good.
I do know I just had to stay on my right side so I couldn't look.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Yeah, this way. How are we? How was that? Yeah.
It's horrible. It was literally just like flat 9 months.
Really? Yeah.
I just saw him back down. Woo! He's dead! Have you not noticed they're there? I had no idea. Good job, Pete.
Well in.
Literally upon that. Yeah, I saw you and I said to my junior, look, there's a man without a bag. It was me. Without a bag, yo.
Hello.
We didn't think anything.
Rice Krispie was the hardest thing.
Oh, really?
And really from here on it was kind of just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And we got to the top of yeah, we were coming down this kind of super steep descent from it's in Welsh, I can't speak Welsh. But it was honestly, it was like that, and we had to kind of like come down on our bums, and you know, you'd accidentally kick a rock and it would go hurtling towards somebody's head, and you'd be like, oh my god, and then you come to the bottom, and then you know, you're like, oh, and now we have to go back up. And this time it was up like a super like steep rocky scramble, but it was quite fun because it was ginormous boulders, and because we were in fog I had zero fear of the height because I was like, well, I can't see anything. But the wind was really strong, so I put my coat on, it was quite cold, you couldn't see a thing apart from just a giant rock you had to climb up, and it was, despite it being really hard, and I remember just my heart being in my throat because I was just out of breath, it was quite fun. And that was the last of the climbing. You know, we'd done like 3,000 meters of climbing by then, at that point, and it was like a downhill to the finish. And it's really easy at that point to get a bit too excited and to kind of be like, woo, like we're kind of done. We just have like 10 more miles to go and it's basically all downhill. Forgetting that, once you've ran 40 miles, downhill is not very nice because your toes hurt, your thighs hurt, everything kind of hurts, your stomach's trying to leak out of your backside. There's not really much nice things going on, and the descent off of Rhynnog Fach was insane. I don't have any photos of it because I was too busy not trying to slip and break my neck, but just a big scree mud hell where you're sliding down on your bum. And coming down here, I don't know what I did, but I must have kind of overextended my ankle or something, and the like front of my, I don't know, some kind of anterior ankle and shin muscle just kind of went, and then coming down was a bit painful. And then we had to like navigate through lots of like bracken and heather and just very much not runnable terrain. And I think when people look at ultramarathons and they're like, you know, like, oh well, I can run a marathon in 4 hours, so why can't you run 50 miles in 8 hours? And you know, the best of the best can. I am not the best of the best. I am not genetically gifted. However, how you run on this kind of terrain, I don't know, especially after having run 40 miles. So you're kind of just like falling through trees and nettles and bracken and rock. We kept going, and then his checkpoint just wasn't appearing. You know, we thought it was pretty soon, but it was taking its time to appear. And again, at that point, it's quite easy to be like frustrated and annoyed that where's the checkpoint? Oh, I just need to get there now, and it needs to be here sooner. But then you just make it harder than it needs to be. It just becomes this awful, grueling experience. my ankle was really quite painful at this point, and running was really quite excruciating, and I was a bit like, this isn't very good because I have like another 6 miles to go, and I don't want to injure myself. However, I kind of knew from just my job and understanding, I was like, okay, well, this isn't it's not a bone, it's not a kind of joint capsule thing, this just feels like a muscle that I've slightly strained. It'll be fine. So I just kind of accepted the pain, and it was all right. And I think that kind of pain took away from all the pain anywhere else, which was helpful. Got to the checkpoint. It was a fucking midgie party, and we stayed there for maybe like less than 45 seconds because there was so many midgies, and I'm now facing the consequences of that. I am bitten everywhere and beginning to severely itch. And then we had just 5 miles to the end. It was pretty dark by this point, maybe like 9 p.m. Well, getting dark, super quiet, not really many people around, and just this kind of sense of wanting it to end because you're in pain and because you're tired and because you're pretty done, but also knowing that this moment and this period of time is so precious, and that tomorrow you're going to go home, then you're going to go back to work, you're going to go back to the routine, you're going to go back to the unimportant important things of life. So rare is that moment where you've been running for 15 hours, the sun's kind of setting, there's just a huge quietness in the air, you're with somebody that you appreciate and you're sharing an experience with and that you can share for the rest of your life, and you just have to take a step back and be like, I want to take this in. But then also your ankle's screaming at you, your legs hurt, your stomach hurts, you feel a bit sick. So it's quite the paradox. What mile is it?
I have no idea.
I think it's 40
something?
49 maybe?
Late 40s. 49?
Yeah.
Hey, that's right. Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling optimistic that I'll finish.
We are nearby, close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was touch and go for a while there in the middle.
Yeah, we had a horrible downhill.
Well
done, hey! Well done.
Right.
And then we appeared kind of behind the finish line, and you could see it, you could hear people, you kind of getting more towards humans and noise and lights, and it's just like, oh shit, we've done it. And it's really hard to describe because time in an ultra, like, 16 hours of running sounds a lot. Like, it sounds like, I mean, I think to people who don't do it, it sounds like a lot. To people that do it, it probably sounds like nothing, but it's obviously, it's a long time, but it's also not, because it's been a moment in time. It's every part of that hour has been momentary, and every part of those hours has been momentary, and it's like the longest, shortest day of your life, and it's quite strange. But yeah, then we came to the finish. We had to like go up a hill, which was really quite the step in the back, and saw my mum at the kind of top of the hill, and she was in this bright orange t-shirt screaming that she'd been doing for like 16 hours. I don't think people realise, I mean I don't because I've never done it, but crewing looks like a terrible job. You're waiting all day, you're driving all day, you get to see the people that you're here to see for about 5 minutes at a time, and you have to just be overly enthusiastic, and you have to completely disregard your own needs. And yeah, so like, I'm so grateful for the people that come and help me, because I'm aware how much of a selfish endeavour it is. But yeah, and then we kind of came around the corner and you can see the finish line, and just this like full body shivers and an inexplainable feeling. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And across the line, and then like that, it's over. You get in the car, you go back to the B&B, you kind of groan and make noises like, everything hurts. You try and get in the shower, you fall over, you see your chafing marks. You just want to go to bed, but you're so tired, but you're so wired. So I went to bed like midnight. That feeling of lying in bed is fantastic, but then you can't really sleep because your heart's pounding, because you've just been running for 16 hours and your body's like, what are you doing? Yeah, then I woke up like 3 hours later, just wide awake, just full of adrenaline. And then, yeah, that was it really. Then we came home, long drive back from Wales. And then you kind of get back, put your bags down, and you're like, huh, I guess I just like wash the dishes now and walk the dogs and go to work and ask people about their day. the transition from an ultra to normal life for me, I always found a bit challenging because it feels like you've just been in this like vortex of a hugely meaningful and in-depth and extreme highs and lows experience, to then just like away from that environment, away from that situation, away from those feelings, into your normal life. And it's kind of like you don't have the processing time.
Would you like a fresh coffee or tea?
Oh, I'll have a sit down first. Thank you.
Oh, look at them bad boys. They've carried you 51 miles.
53, thank you.
53?
3.5.
Wow.
Apart from when I just had to close my eyes as I slept.
Yeah.
After a second I started dreaming I was tumbling down a mountain and I woke up going, ah! And I kept doing it, so I was like, well, I won't close my eyes.
And then Alan trying to get up this hill. Oh god, oh god, oh god. How many days do you think it'll be till you can sit down on the toilet without hurting?
Maybe one.
Wow.
Tomorrow's gonna be really, it's not been 24 hours yet.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be really bad. Or if,
Surely it's got to be.
I think so, but like, if I could like, do this.
That's great.
Do that. It's pretty impressive, huh?
Very.
Yeah. How does it feel to have such a cool friend?
Yeah, you know,
Like,
knowing a real life celebrity is like, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, to me, obviously she's just a normal girl, but like to everyone else she's a celebrity, so
pretty good. Toes are looking in good shape. What do you think about my toenails? Especially the third green one. Like a potato. It's not too bad, it's just a little bit green. I think the conclusion from all of this for me is the importance of being unwavering in everything you do, to know what matters in life, to know what's important to you, to know what you value. Without that, you can be sucked into all of the noise, all of the judgment, all of the distraction, all of the shoulds, shouldn'ts, expectations, societal ideas, everything. And we have a limited amount of time, we have a limited amount of energy, we have a limited amount of attention. And I think there's something so incredibly life enhancing when you can allow yourself to fully embrace and throw yourself into something. And I don't necessarily think that matters what that is, but I think without that central point, without the understanding of what you want and what matters, everything else will permeate. Everything else will distract you. Everything else will tell you that you can't, that you shouldn't, that you won't be able to. I think we're kind of taught in life that how you feel is what you can do. How you feel is what your reality is. How you feel is the determinant factor of who you are. And I think the more you wait to feel good, the more you wait to feel motivated, the more you wait to feel not afraid, the more you wait to feel ready, the more of your life you're going to keep on wasting and wasting and wasting. There's a huge liberation that comes when you recognise that how you're feeling and what you can do, what you can experience are two very different things. And I think your life can truly begin when you can have a sense of unwavering commitment to what matters and to stop waiting to feel a certain way.